back to As Told by Ray. I'm Teray. If you're new here, welcome, and if you are returning, hey y'all. So first, before we get started in this week's video, make sure that you go ahead and subscribe if you already have not, and hit the notification bell so that you get notifications when I upload. I do my uploads every week on Mondays, somewhere around the afternoon. Don't look for it at early in the morning because I gotta work and I ain't got time for all that. So yeah, every Monday I will be posting a new video. So this week we are kind of switching gears again and going back into my topics that are for my women out there, for my moms out there. And this week we are talking about breastfeeding and pretty much my entire breastfeeding journey. So I had my daughter Harper last August. I breastfed her for 8 months before I stopped and switched over to formula for the remaining 4 months of the year. So I'm going to talk to you guys about my experience and things that, kind of led to me having to stop breastfeeding, and things that I definitely would do different the next time around. So let's kind of backtrack and start at the beginning. I decided that I wanted to breastfeed Harper. One, let's be honest, because breastfeeding is free. Formula is not cheap, and newborns eat a lot. I don't have time to be spending $50 every other week for a newborn baby to be supplying formula. So I'm gonna work with what God gave me, and I'm gonna start making this milk. So that was pretty much why I initially really started breastfeeding, and also because I've gotten a lot of advice from other women that breastfeeding is really a good bonding experience for mother and child. So of course, why wouldn't I want to do that? So I did that, started out in the hospital, pretty much whole thing. Once we came home, my milk came in about 4 days. Yeah, because about day 4 I had to go get nursing bras, and I was like leaking all over the dressing room. Like, it was for real. So when the milk came in, I had got my pump and I started pumping that day. Now, people will tell you different things when it comes to pumping. You can wait a couple weeks to pump right away. Do whatever it is that makes you feel most comfortable. I knew that I was on a time frame to go back to work, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna start building this stash and we're gonna start pumping. And actually Harper didn't eat a lot. Like, people would tell me, oh, if you're gonna like when you're breastfeeding, to do both sides, and she wasn't doing that. She was like on one side and she would just fall asleep. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna pump the other one because nobody wants to be like feeling like your boob about to explode. So I started pumping really early, really more than like even doctors suggested that I do, or lactation consultants, not doctors, but whatever. Do what it is that you feel comfortable doing. It's not gonna hurt you if you start pumping like I did at day 4, or you decide to just nurse your baby and wait a couple weeks to start pumping. Is really your preference. So when I was at home during my 10 weeks of maternity leave, everything was going good. I would feed her and then pump for 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'd be good. Keep on that same schedule. Sometimes I would have to wake up in the middle of the night and pump because it was just a lot. And she didn't wake up a lot in the middle of the night. She would wake up like once a night. And so those hours that she was sleeping, I was like, I can't take this. I gotta get up and relieve myself. So that was in the beginning. Now, when I went back to work is when things kind of changed. So the job that I was at, they had what's called a phase back period. So you didn't come back to work working your regular 40 hours. You would kind of set it up. So the first week you would work 20 hours. Then the next week it would add hours. The week after that, and then the week after that, you would pretty much kind of be back to your 40 hours. So I had my own schedule, and during that time, it was really kind of my time to establish, okay, what am I going to do as far as like working and pumping at the same time, because my baby got to eat. So I was doing that, and it was good for the first couple months, but once I kind of finally got back to work full time, that's when things sort of switched. I was working in a pretty much male dominated office, so breastfeeding wasn't really something that everybody acted like it was rocket science. that don't bother me for 15 minutes 4 times a day, or however many times I felt like that I wanted to pump or I needed to pump. So that was kind of an issue there. Like, I had an office, thank God, so I would be able to, you know, shut my door in my office, and I had a sign that I would put up and just tell people, you know, like, I'm busy, leave me alone, and I'll be available in X amount of minutes. But people just would ignore it. They would continue to kind of just knock on my door, call me, just everything to distract me from pumping. And I'm the kind of person, I am very, very career driven. So I work extremely hard. I'm all about how much money is this going to make me? What's the next promotion? What's the next thing to kind of move further along in my career? I hate being stagnant. So I'm always kind of chasing that next thing. And I found that my drive for my career and wanting to better myself and further my career interfered a lot with my pumping. And that's not to say that that's anybody else's fault but my own. That's 100% on me because I let it. And I didn't really see it in the beginning that it wasn't going to be something I was going to be able to juggle. When you are breastfeeding and you are pumping, it's a full-time job. You have to be 100% dedicated to it. And honestly, looking back on it, I wasn't 100% dedicated to it. I did it, of course, because I knew that it was the best thing for my baby. It was saving us money, but I was letting other things distract me instead of saying, you know what? No, everything else is just going to have to take a back seat while I do this. So that was a mistake that I made on my part. And I really just let the stress of my position and the stress of my job and trying to perform and outdo myself, outdo others to put me in a position to, you know, get promoted within the next year to 18 months. That's what I was shooting for. I was so overwhelmed and I was so stressed out that it started to really take an effect on my body, and it started to take an effect on the amount of milk that I was able to produce. So I was having trouble keeping up with the amount that Harper was eating every day. Thankfully, I had built such a large stash before I went back to work, and I'll post a picture of like what I was able to pump in my first 30 days. It was something crazy, almost like 400 ounces of milk. I will put a picture somewhere on the screen so that you guys can see. But if I didn't have that stash, I would have ran out of milk a lot sooner, just because I wasn't able to keep up. And for those of you who've never breastfed, you have to consume a lot of calories to keep up with milk production. Breastfeeding burns a lot of calories, so you have to constantly eat and hydrate yourself to keep up. I was drinking the water, but I would find myself that I would get so consumed with work and having all of these people asking me to do 1,000 different things and trying to please everybody and get everything done, that I would look up and I'm like, geez, it's 3:30 and I haven't eaten a single thing all day today. And that just kept happening more and more and more. And it became the norm that, okay, I will just have to, I'll skip pumping right now because I can't stop because I have all this other work that I need to do, and I will miss a pump session. So that was less milk that I had. And when you're not consistently removing the milk from your body won't make more. It's basically telling your body that, oh, you don't really need all of this. So it will start to produce less. And that's what was happening to me. And once I kind of noticed that, okay, I was able to produce like 24 ounces a couple weeks ago every day, and now I'm slowly getting down to, now I'm only doing 20, or now I'm only doing 18. Something is going on. So once it started really dwindling down, I was just like, okay, you got to do something. And I tried everything. I tried every tea, every supplement, every cookie, whatever it said that you could eat. It literally on the internet, it will tell you to soak oatmeal in water and just drink the water. I was drinking nasty ass oat water to try to make myself make more milk. I was like trying to force myself to eat even though I wasn't hungry. I'm like, I gotta do something to try to get my supply back up. I watched countless YouTube videos on how to do this, and it just wasn't working. Nothing was working. The supply was getting worse, and it really set in that I fucked up. And it was my fault, and I was having a really, really hard time with that because I felt so guilty because I let something that's really, in hindsight, not important because, one, I don't even work for that company anymore. So I did all of this, and what did I get from it? I had to stop breastfeeding my baby at 8 months because by 8 months, I was down to producing 4 ounces of milk a day. It just wasn't working. Nothing was working. All the supplements, all the tea, nothing was working. I just couldn't get the supply back up. And I eventually had to just, call it quits and say, okay, there's nothing that I can do at this point. I have to stop. I can't keep up with the demand that she's eating. And I had to switch over to formula. So switching over to formula was a whole set of mom guilt. I literally remember coming home and putting my last little bag of milk in the freezer and looking at how much I actually had left and going upstairs, showering and just crying in the shower uncontrollably because I felt so bad and I felt so guilty for not realizing what I actually was doing. And that's not to say that formula is bad. Formula is not bad. If you're a mom and your kid is on formula, that's fine. Nothing is wrong. It doesn't make you a bad parent, but it made me realize that this whole career-driven thing that I had going on, it's not the most important. That I really had to change my mindset and shift focus and say, you know what? I can't let a company and a job that's not even my own, that I work for someone else, take me to a point where I am so overworked and I'm so overstressed out and I'm continuing to try to basically compete and try to appease the people that I work for. So I had to stop with breastfeeding, and everything was fine. Harper didn't have any issues with the transition. She was fine. She did it for the last 4 months, and then now she's 1 and we're on regular whole milk, so it's a whole lot cheaper of a bill. But yeah, so that's pretty much my breastfeeding journey. Things that I would do again is, of course, I wouldn't let my other things be the most important. Making sure that when you are in an environment where you have to go to work every day, making sure that people respect what you're doing and have respect for it yourself. Not taking your laptop or even working while you're pumping at the same time. Just, you know what, this is going to be my break for the day. The way I think of it is like smokers. Smokers never feel guilty about going outside to smoke a cigarette 15 times a day. So why should I feel bad about providing food for my baby? I wish I had that mindset months ago, but really, I feel like that's the mindset that you gotta kind of have, is just like, no, what you're talking about, what you're asking me to do, what you guys need is not that important right now. I need this 15, 20 minutes, even if you need 30 minutes. They're required to give you that. Take that time to just quiet yourself, calm your mind, get some water, get your pump, and just sit there and relax. And even if you're done pumping before the time is up, still just sit there and relax. So definitely having a different mindset is something that I definitely, the next time around, I'm gonna have. And really just not being so hard on myself. Not being so hard on myself, not looking at these crazy YouTube videos of people who have like 1,000 ounces of milk stored in a freezer somewhere, because it makes it feel like, okay, it's not realistic. I really, after having this experience and seeing the things that I did wrong, I really just want to make sure that I have enough milk stored in the freezer to provide food for the next day. And maybe a little extra if, you know, I'm out or I'm not home or with the baby, that of course the baby will have food. Yeah, doing that, but not trying to keep up and have this multi-100 ounce stash, because really sometimes you get to the end of breastfeeding and then you have extra milk left over and you're trying to figure out, well, what the hell am I supposed to do with all this milk? So I ain't gonna be doing that the next time. And yeah, I really think that that's all there is to it. And yeah, so pretty much that's all that I have for this week's video. I think for all of you moms out there who are breastfeeding your children, you got this. Don't stress yourself out. Everything else really can fucking wait. Everything can wait. Focus on yourself. Focus on providing the best source of nutrition for your baby. Make sure you drink lots of water. Eat healthy. Don't just be eating cookies all day. You know, eat something that's actually healthy, that's going to help you with your milk production, and make people respect you, because breastfeeding is a hard task. So make sure that everybody else respects what you're doing, and don't lower that standard for anyone. Don't add any unnecessary stress to your life. Take that whatever amount of time it is that you're going to breastfeed, whether it's, you know, 6 months, whether it's a year, take that time to really be as stress-free as possible, because it really makes the experience a lot different, and it makes the experience and the bonding time with your child more enjoyable. Yeah, enjoy it. Don't stress about it. You got it. And yeah, so I think that that's all that I have for this week's video. And if you watched all the way to the end of this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. There's no reason that you watch me talk for 10, 15, 20 minutes, however long this video is, and you're not gonna hit the subscribe button. So help your girl out. Leave comments, like this video. Make sure that you also follow me on my other social media. I will have that linked in the description bar below. So after you guys done that, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.